Hello, and welcome to our Chapter 14 presentation of Comparative International Human Resources Management. This presentation was prepared by Ashley Gonzalez and myself, Daniel Cortez. Our goal to describe, compare, and explain the effects of human resources management in the different economic and cultural contexts of Europe, North America, Asia Pacific, and Latin America. What is Comparative International Human Resources Management, or IHRM for short? Comparative International Human Resources Management focuses on the differences and similarities that exist between countries and regions and examines how those differences and similarities affect international human resources management policies and practices. How? By using the comparative IHRM framework, which include convergence and divergence. The convergence perspective suggests that over time, organizational structures in differing countries and regions will become similar due to the similar pressures and challenges involved. The divergence perspective examines the why and how certain IHRM policies and practices differ across countries. Let's begin with Europe. The 5 most populated countries in Europe are Russia, Germany, France, the United Kingdom, and Italy. When we talk about Europe, we have to talk about the European Union, especially when it comes to human resources management. What is the European Union? The European Union is an economic and politically linked region that operates with a single market that allows the free movement of goods, capital, services, and labor within its member countries. The EU was formed in 1993. It includes 28 countries. It does operate as a single market, and the population of 507 million within its member countries. The EU also consists of 24 official working languages. Every area has its own region cluster. The European region clusters consist of north, east, west, and south. Pretty basic. So the northern region consists of the Channel Islands, Denmark, Estonia, Faroe Islands, Finland, Iceland, Ireland, Isle of Man, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, Sweden, the United Kingdom, and Ireland. The eastern region consists of Belarus, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, Republic of Moldova, Romania, the Russian Federation, Slovakia, and the Ukraine. The western region consists of Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Monaco, Netherlands, and Switzerland. The southern region consists of Albania, Andorra, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, Gibraltar, Greece, Holy See, Italy, Malta, Montenegro, Portugal, San Marino, Serbia, Slovenia, Spain, and Macedonia. Every area has issues in human resources management. Europe specifically has 3. One being government regulations, the next being influence of labor unions, and the third, the flexibility security nexus. How does European government regulations affect human resources management? Compared to other regions in the world, Europe has more legislative control over employment relationships than anywhere else. These limit the HRM function's ability to staff, train, and terminate employees. Also, government regulations guide labor markets in terms of employee rights, social security provisions, and union negotiating rights. Another European issue is the influence of labor unions. In Europe, several union confederations belong to the European Trade Union Confederation, or the ETUC, who promote the interest of working people at the European level and to represent them in the EU institutions. Unions focus on collective bargaining, wages and benefits, working conditions, and provide job security and protection. There is also an additional form of employee representation known as work councils, which in general include both employer and elected representatives of employees and focus on the issues of common interest. These councils concentrate on protecting employee rights, improving communication channels between workers and top management, and have legal powers in general to allow interests of the employees to feature in all major operational decisions. The third issue in Europe is the flexibility security nexus. What is the flexibility security nexus? This refers to the balance needed between the flexibility to enable competitiveness in European labor markets and the deregulation of legislative protection for employees. Human resource management develops, implements, and maintains policies and processes that balance and satisfies the needs of governments, employers, employees. The next area we'll be talking about is North America. The region includes Bermuda, Canada, Greenland, St. Pierre at Miquelon, which is near Canada, the United States of America, and sometimes Mexico, only due to NAFTA. Usually Mexico is considered part of Latin America. There are 4 human resource management issues for this region. The first is intrusiveness of labor laws. The second is levels of unionization. The third is characteristic labor force values. And the fourth is HRM function as a strategic business partner. The first issue is the perceived intrusiveness of labor laws. In the US, the government is less of a regulator of labor markets than in other markets such as Europe. There are strong labor laws, but they are less intrusive. Government laws promote and encourage free market forces to resolve many labor issues. There are still strong federal and state laws that provide a variety of rights and protections against unfair, unsafe, and discriminatory employment practices. Human resource management function has a critical role of monitoring the legal and regulatory environment, particularly adherence to the anti-discrimination and affirmative action legislation. The second issue are the low levels of unionization. Why are there low levels of unionization in North America? Union membership trends over the last several years has declined considerably due to the shift from manufacturing to services sector, with service jobs less likely to be unionized, the increase in white-collar jobs, greater interaction between management and workers due to general belief by management that treating people better will improve performance. Thus, there is a little interest in the possible protections provided by unions. Federal and state laws that provide legislation and agencies that provide considerable protection to employees, such as FMLA and OSHA. So the third issue in North America is the characteristic labor force values. What is the primary characteristic in North American labor force values? It is an individualistic and merit-based labor force. There is considerable focus on the individual's contribution to the organization's success. Staffing policies and practices are significantly influenced by the at-will doctrine, which allows the employer or employee to terminate employment without advance notice. Hiring and employee engagement and retention practices are largely influenced by emphasis on employee individual merit. Most employers depend on external labor markets to acquire talent, so there is an immense competition for acquiring top talent. Organizations view training and development as a source of competitive advantage. They invest considerable resources in developing individual competencies. On-the-job training is important for many organizations. Compensation is based on pay for performance model. Human resources management practices and policies have been focusing on work-life balance as well. The fourth issue is the human resources management function as a strategic business partner. Why is the HRM function now seen as a strategic partner? The focus has been shifted from human resources management policies and practices to human resources management systems. Managers are expected to focus on how HR management policies and practices support each other in a system and how human resources management systems support an organization's business strategy. Human resources management function faces considerable pressure to show financial impact of these systems. HR professionals are expected to design metrics or measures to capture the impact of HRM systems on financial measures and demonstrate the return on investment of HR policies. Our next area of discussion is Asia, and the 5 most populated countries in Asia are China, India, Indonesia, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. So the Asian region clusters are East Asia, South Central Asia, Southeast Asia, and West Asia, also known as the Middle East. We will be focusing on Asia Pacific, which includes China, South Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, India, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, and Australia. The 4 HR management issues for this region are shift to free market policies, the transition from collectivist to individualist cultural values, the influence of labor unions, and challenges associated with talent flow. The first issue, the shift to free market policies, is strongly shaped by the macro level pressures such as globalization, technology, communication, and the communication revolution. Also, the changes in HR management due to macro level pressures include employee relations, industrial relations, and labor legislation. Other areas that affect the free market policies are the retirement planning and other benefits, which is moving from the employer to the individual, as well as the privatization of many government-owned enterprises, which means greater job insecurity for workers in general. The second issue for HR management is the transition from collectivist to individualist cultural values. What does this mean? Basically, it focuses on the individual contributions rather than group efforts. Some of those implications on HR practices means compensation, promotions, and other employee benefits. The third issue in this area is, much like the others, is the influence of labor unions. Influence is also declining in the Asian area. The reasons for decline is the restrictive labor legislation, anti-union government policies, the lack of effective union leadership, and the lack of representation from all age groups, genders, and socioeconomic backgrounds. The fourth issue are challenges associated with talent flow. This refers to the migration of talented individuals between countries for advanced studies, training, and foreign work abroad, and then trying to attract them back. The challenges include training and development for those coming back, the retention, what policies and practices can prevent individuals from leaving in the first place. So the next area of discussion is Latin America. And the 5 most populated countries in Latin America are Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Argentina, and Peru. Now, technically, Mexico is part of Latin America, but when we talk about North America, because of the NAFTA treaty, Mexico sometimes in some organizations counts as North America. The region clusters for this area are the Caribbean region, the Central American region, and the South American region. The four HR management issues for this region in Latin America are the transitional role for labor unions, family-oriented work values, a person-centered view of HR management, and the emergence of an informal economy. So the first issue in Latin America is the transitional role for labor unions. So labor unions are stronger in the public sector, which means they're government-owned companies. The labor unions are weaker in the private. The reason is the organizations are more active in their labor relations and activities. Organizations use more effective union avoidance tactics, and organizations are more concerned with employment security. The second issue in Latin America is family-oriented work values. They have a strong paternalistic leadership where management plays the role of the quote father and the organization is the family. Workers value the hierarchy, which defines the status. Hiring relatives is the norm in the workplace, so a lot of people work with their family members. And there's a strong concern for good quality of life for employees. The third issue in international human resources management for Latin America is the person-centered view of human resources management, which means the HR manager's policies focus on values important to the employee, not so much for the company. The welfare of the individuals and family, and also to promote teamwork and community. The fourth issue that HR managers deal with are the emergence of an informal economy. This is defined as an economic sector that is not monitored or regulated by the government. Um, I looked it up and it gave an example of garment workers, such as garment workers working from home. I kind of come up with another informal economy down south, but basically the issues with that is that it's a continuous increase due to higher wages in those informal markets. Thank you and have a good day.